good morning, good morning, and welcome to Tuesday Transformation Tidbits, where every week we gather to fuel your faith, to sharpen your focus, and to push you into your next level. I am so excited that you decided to join me this morning at 6 a.m. So this year we've been talking about getting it done for 2026. We are talking about we're not owning the thing that once crushed us. So whatever that crushed us back in beyond 2026, that's the thing that we're not showing ownership to any longer. But what we're doing is we're trying to get the thing done that we have put to the side, the thing that we have been sitting here talking about we're going to do it and we didn't do it. We're going to get it done. This week, we're on episode 6, and episode 6 really is about shifting the atmosphere. We're moving from protection into activation on today, from awareness into action on today. We're no longer going to negotiate with our past. We're no longer going to talk about and continuously look in the past, but now we're pushing forward and we're taking the authority that we need to push forward. This is the kind of message this morning that's calling people into maturity, calling people into clarity this morning, calling people with a spiritual backbone to begin to stand up and to do what it is that the Father has called us to do. So in episode 6, we're going to be talking about walking in the new authority. Stop negotiating with what God had already delivered us from. As a preference, we always use scripture to back us up. So as a preference this morning, we're going to look at Galatians 5:1. And Galatians 5:1, it says, "It is for freedom that Christ has set us free." So it says, stand firm then. And it says, do not let yourself be burdened again. The key word when I look at that is again. So it's telling us to come out basically from the things that are burdening us down. Get to the point that we're at a freedom level. And then once we get to the point that we're at a freedom level, we can't go back and put ourselves in that burden with those chains around our neck anymore. We got to stay free. And on this year, that is our goal, to stay free. Because in order to get it done, we have to be in a freedom status in order to execute what it is that the Father is calling us to do. When we look at freedom, freedom is not accidental. A lot of times think that I accidentally walked into freedom. No, freedom's not accidental. Freedom is intentional. You have to do something in order to get free. Something is required of you. There is a responsibility that you need to take in order for freedom to reign. As they said, let freedom reign. Let freedom reign in your life. So when we begin to look at it, Christ, he sets you free on purpose. So why would we take the option of staying bound if it is the Father's desire to set us free on purpose? So we got to stay firm in your freedom. Staying firm in your freedom talks about we can't go back into bondage. I don't know about you. A lot of times when I hear the word bondage, I always think about the mummies who are bound together and they're in bondage and they can't move their arms. They can't see out of their face. They can't even walk because of the bandage that they have around them. And most of the times in bondage, we are the same way. We're blinded. Our arms and our legs have no movement because the bandage is all around us. So when we look at don't go back into bondage, what does that really mean? It means that your responsibility is not to earn freedom, but it's supposed to maintain your position while you're in freedom. I want to say that again because some of us feel as though that we can earn the freedom. Freedom comes from the Father, but we have to maintain the position once we become free. You see, deliverance is really God's work. That's what God does. But walking in authority is our responsibility, is what we do. God has a place in this action, and so do we. And we have to stand and maintain our position while we're in freedom. But here's what we do. We get stuck. A lot of times when we go to freedom, because freedom is something that's not familiar. So we get stuck. And then when we get stuck, when we realize that we have been deliverance, but we don't stand firm in our deliverance. And when you don't stand firm in your deliverance, you begin to negotiate again with your past. If you're not maintaining your position, if you're not standing in your freedom, you'll go back to start talking to your past. You'll go back to start negotiating with your past. You're not who you were when the battle started. But you have become somebody different at the end of the battle. And most of the time when we look at battles and we look at soldiers who are fighting in the battles, sometimes soldiers who are going into battles and they're standing and they're fighting, some of them are naive. But when that battle is over, they are now pros at that battle because the objective of the battle is they had to maintain their position while they were fighting. They couldn't constantly look back because if they constantly look back while they were fighting, whoever they were fighting, their opponent would become the aggressor to them. So they had to maintain their position. They had to constantly look forward. They had to constantly press. Irregardless of what may have come, what they may have endured in the midst of the battle, there was a push that had to happen. They had to constantly push forward in order to maintain the mental and the physical position that they had. And sometimes in their battles, I can imagine they seen some wild and some crazy things, death falling around them, fire and smoke everywhere. But there had to be a determination that I'm going forward, a determination that I'm not going to allow these ailments that are all around me to take me from my position. I've got to continue to go forward. You see, deliverance, it changes your status. But when we look at authority changes our stance. So we got to take authority over the battle that we're in. And negotiations is a return to bondage. When you negotiate, let's just be honest, we're returning to bondage. The scripture talks about do not be burdened again. And then that's that word that I told you that I liked initially, the word again, because it means you've already been there, you've already been stuck, and you've already been bound. So if you've already been there and you know the feeling that you have when you were bound and you were burdened down with so many cares of life, why would you want to revisit it? What God has already released from you, why would you want to take that back upon you? So negotiation sounds something like that. Maybe it won't be the same this time. And that's the great line that so many of us use when we want to negotiate with our past. Maybe it will be different this time. Maybe the person will be different this time. Maybe the occasion will be different this time. But let's just be honest. Will it really be different? Or are you trying to negotiate with yourself to revisit the thing that you just came from? Or you say, I'm grown enough that I can handle it. Are you really grown enough that you can handle the past situations that brought you so much turmoil? Are you really grown enough? Or it's not that serious anymore? Was it serious when you were in it? Because if it was serious when you were in it, it is still serious now. So sometimes we can't negotiate with things that we have already come out. We've already been there. We've already done it. We wore the t-shirt. As a matter of fact, we purchased a t-shirt and now we don't need to return. The t-shirt is something that we have in our drawer or something that we have in our closet, but we don't need to return back to the place of the burdens that are upon us because burdens wear you down. You see, the truth of the matter is that bondage doesn't need your permission to return. It does need your participation. When we look at bondage, bondage is not asking for us for permission for them to come back to us. But what it is asking for us is for us to participate in the bondage. And what's us participating in the bondage is us negotiating with it. Because if the bondage can get you to negotiate the thing or to negotiate with the person, place, or thing, what it has is you participating in the negotiation. So we got to just let it go. Somebody just shout out, I got to let it go this morning. Whatever it is, I got to let it go. I got to take authority in the stance that I'm not revisiting you, no matter what you do, no matter what you say, no matter how enticing it is. I just got to let it go. Be gone. Don't entertain it. Don't participate. Don't negotiate. Just keep going forward. You see, when we look at authority, we looked at the bondage, we looked at the negotiation. Let's look at the authority. The authority is the ability to stand firm. Freedom, it gives you access. But authority teaches you how to hold on to that access. I want somebody to hear me this morning. When you get freedom, you got access. But authority, it teaches you how to handle, how to hold on, how to maintain your position in that freedom. It says stand firm. Stand firm means don't move when pressure comes. Stand firm means don't bend when temptation rises. Stand firm means don't reconsider what God has already settled. Don't reconsider it. That's that negotiation thing. Don't reconsider it. There was a reason why you left that person, place, or thing. There was a reason why you're not there was a reason why you're not going back to that person, place, or thing. You're not entertaining it any longer. So think about, why am I not entertaining that person, place, or thing? And say, I've got to allow God to settle that thing in me. I got to let it go. Let it go this morning. Authority is not emotional, but authority is positional. We got to stand in our position. Remember, I said you got to maintain your position. When you get that freedom, you got to maintain it. You got to hold your ground. I got to stay here. Haven't done all the staying. I got to still stay here until I'm totally out of the thing. I got to maintain my position. You don't want to stand firm because you're feeling strong, but you want to stand firm because you made a decision. Everything we do has to do with whether or not we're making up a decision to do what it is that we're doing. Because emotions, they fluctuate. They change from moment to moment, from day to day. Trust me, I know. When I got up this morning, that emotion I felt this morning is not the emotion that I'm feeling right now. They change. They fluctuate. So you have to make a decision that even if my emotions change in the next 5 or 10 minutes, I'm still going to maintain my stance. I'm still going to maintain my position. I'm still going to hold on to my freedom. I'm not going to negotiate, but I'm going to use the authority that I have. So stop picking up what you put down. It's just that simple. That's what it is in a nutshell. Stop picking it up once you have already put it down. Some of us, we're tired, not because life is so heavy, but we're tired because we keep picking up what God has told us to drop. We're tired. We look tired, we act tired, we speak tired, but we're tired because we keep picking up that thing after God said, drop it. And the yoke of slavery, that's what the scripture, don't take it back. So what is the yoke of slavery? What does that really look like? It's old mindsets. Looking back, that negotiation with your past is toxic cycles that we go through. It's unhealthy relationships. It's fear. It's insecurity, and it's self-doubt. That's the yoke of slavery, the yoke of bondage that keeps us bound together. That mummy that can't move, that can't see. It can't do nothing but allow that bandage to keep him bondage, to keep him tied up. What's keeping you tied up? What has you in bondage? And every time you pick that thing up, again, you delay the freedom that you were meant to walk in. Every time you consider to go back to that thing and you begin to negotiate it, your freedom is at stake. So on today, that thing that broke you, let it stay broke. Let it stay in the past and you go towards your freedom. Let it go. You got to realize that you're not that same person anymore anyway. Because once you pass a situation, once you come out of a situation, once freedom reigns in the life over the situation, you become a different person because you begin to see things in a different manner, at a different level, from a different eyesight. So you're not that same person. That's why when we look at Galatians 5:1, it's not just about instructions, but it has a lot to do with identity too, because you're free. Not becoming free, not working on the freedom, but you're free. Your identity is free. You begin to know who you are in God. So therefore, when you're standing firm, the Father is standing with you. You're free. So the question becomes, will your behavior agree with your identity? If your identity is one that's progressive, that has freedom, what does your behavior say? Because if you're walking in freedom, your behavior should be one of that does from a person who is free. Are you in bondage this morning? Or are you walking in freedom? Because if you keep responding like you were of the old, what you do is you're recreating old result. If I'm responding how I was from the things of old, I'm just recreating something. I'm back at negotiating again. I'm back at the same point that I was this morning. So, in other words, your no is how you're going to stand firm. I know I'm running that no thing. Because no has become a real word in my vocabulary, just like it has become a real word in some of you who are listening to me vocabulary. So stand firm. Stand firm is really not complicated, but it has to be consistent. And that's the key point. When we're standing firm and we're maintaining our position, it's consistency that we're looking at. So what does no really look like? No is saying no without an explanation. It's walking away without feeling guilty. It's refusing access without hesitation. Some of you got to say no to the access that you have given to other people in your life. You got to take that thing back. And you can't hesitate in taking it back. You got to walk in authority and reclaim that thing. And simply it's just no. No is not rejection sometimes, and all times no is not rejection, but really it's protection. You're protecting yourself. You're protecting your mind. You're protecting your soul. You're protecting your will. You're protecting your own strength when you say no, because you don't have the heaviness of carrying something that you shouldn't be carrying. Every time you say no to bondage, you're saying yes to freedom on this morning. So some of us need to look in the mirror and say no to bondage so that you can say yes to freedom. So you got to walk like it's already done, listeners, family. You got to walk like this thing is already done. Authority shows up in how you move. A movement really dictates whether or not you've been set free. Authority shows up how you move. You don't chase you don't chase the assignment that has been assigned to you. You don't have to chase it, because if it's assigned to you, the Father's going to give you what you need in order to orchestrate it and to execute it. You don't have to beg for what God has already approved for you to have. Let's stop doing that, because if He's approved for me to have it, it is mine. It's in due season that I receive it. You don't fear what you've already survived. If I've already survived it and I'm thriving over what I survived, I don't have to fear it anymore. I just have to walk in it. You walk like someone you know who's in freedom. I've already brought this out. I've already been brought out, and I'm not going back. So I'm walking like a person that is already done. It's going to be done because He declared that it's going to be done. So I'm walking in done. My closing charge to you, family, this morning is freedom is not fragile, but it is guarded. You don't need another breakthrough. You just need to stand in the one that you have already received. No more negotiation, family. No more revisiting, family. No more just one time more. That one time is going to get you in bondage that you can't get out. Stand firm, because what God delivered to you, you no longer desire. What God has delivered you from, you're no longer designed to carry it. That season is over. Authority shows up, like I said, in how you move. You've already been brought out of that situation. Stay out. Don't go back into bondage. On today, my Tuesday tidbit for you is that you have to stay free. You've got to walk in your authority. Your authority is going to show that freedom has rung in your life. You're not just trying to be set free. You are committed and commanded to be free. Read Galatians 5 again. Now stand in the freedom that you're in. We've been going through this series of getting it done for a couple of weeks now. And next week is the last episode of the series. And the last episode is now that I'm free, what am I supposed to do with it? You're free. What are you supposed to do with it? You didn't just get free to feel better. You just didn't get free to build something different, but you got free because there's purpose that comes along with that freedom. And in order for you to execute the purpose that the Father has set in your life, you needed to be free to do it. You needed to walk in the freedom. You needed to declare it. You needed to have the authority and not negotiate. Family, I thank you so much for listening to me on today. I know last week we called out of a book and we said it was for the first man that actually responded. And Nerone was the first man that responded. Nerone Land is the first man, my bro. He is the first man that responded. And he is a consistent listener to Tuesday Transformation Tidbits. And I appreciate him so much because he listens and he comments. As a matter of fact, he comments more than most of us that are on the line. And he comments, his comments are healthy comments that get you to think about what it is that you're doing with your life. So I want to congratulate him on today for being that consistent, that constant man. Sometimes he's the only man that's on the line, but he's consistent. So a book has been mailed to him on today. And on today, we're going to do something else. We have another book. It's actually the same book, Pursuit of Joy, that we're going to be giving out again today. And that book is probably going to go, I'm going to look at the person who commented the most this morning, and that person will be receiving that book. Once again, family, I want to tell you on today that you've got to walk in what the Father has given you, your freedom. You got to walk in your new authority. You know, freedom, as I said, is not accidental, but freedom is intentional. So the question is, what behavior are you displaying? Are you displaying the behavior of freedom? Or are you displaying the behavior of bondage? Look at yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, am I free? And if I am, what is my behavior displaying? Be amazing on today, family. Shalom.